Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Graham here. Here we go, and let's start with me being back at home now on the treatment of the blockers, the testosterone blockers. Now you might say, well, you talked a little bit about it on the last one, but I didn't actually tell you a few more of the side effects and what they did. And when any man who's going through this will say, Graham, what about those hot flushes? And what about the swelling and the fatigue? And what about, the weight gain and the growing breasts? Yes, it happens. And it happens to me, and it's happening to me still. Now bear in mind that, I've moved on to quarterly injections, so I get a massive hit at the beginning when I have the injection, and wow, the hot flushes. And I know you can have a pill to treat that, but it's still, you have to breathe through them, these hot flushes, and the fatigue hits you very suddenly. I'll give you an example. I could be watching a movie at night, 7:30, suddenly bang, it hits me, the fatigue, and you just literally fall over. You can't watch that movie anymore. And I do that on a regular basis, sit with the family watching something interesting, and suddenly the fatigue hits and I have to go to bed. I just can't carry on. Or I'm sitting there with the family having watching something interesting, hot flush just literally rises, and I have to go and breathe through it or go outside and just try and cool off, and that can happen 4 or 5 times a day. The swelling in your legs. Now you have to be aware with these blockers, these testosterone blockers, they will take you to the point where the fatigue becomes really part of your day. The hot flushes do, the weight gain, all these things chip a little bit more off you. I know they're doing good, they're raging the battle. The battle is being won inside, it's suppressing the cancer or the prostate, and it's bringing it down to a size where they can then carry out the radiotherapy. And I know this, and everybody does who goes through this treatment plan, and we know the end result is going to be a positive one, but you have to deal with these side effects, and it's very, very intrusive, and it's a personal journey for yourself, because you don't want to show weakness out there. You don't want to show your family that you're going through these little episodes in your day, and it's bit by bit changing you. If your family sees you as a very active person before the whole diagnosis, you were maybe a runner, you were maybe a walker, you were one of these things that made you very active, and then suddenly you're reduced to experiencing these episodes and the fatigue. Now they'll say to you, and I rang up my cancer specialist and I said, look, these blockers, it's doing this to me, it's doing that to me. And they said, look, start walking, do this, start weightlifting. And yes, it can be done, but in your daily life or your daily routine, where do you fit in all this? Where do you fit it all in? It's one of those things that you have to commit to and say, I'm going to do absolutely everything that I can to maintain the stability in my train of thought, because that's another thing. Your mental health, that takes a bashing as well. And there's many times where before I actually had that third and final diagnosis, that I said to my wife, look, if anything happens to me, this is what I want you to do. And that used to upset her a lot. But all I was trying to do was plan, my exit, and ensure that the boys and my wife was looked after. But she wouldn't have any of that. And I've said in the past, we did make a pact, and we said we would be positive and stay positive and carry on. And to a degree we did. The only time I actually really struggled was when I told my sister. And I remember the conversation, and it was very, very hard. And it was just after that we had you've got stage 3.5, and we're going to do an MRI because we're quite worried about it being in the bone. I made that decision. I was going to tell certain parties, and the hardest one was telling my sister. And I couldn't tell anyone else. That was the only way I could have a little bit of release without having a whole host of people, pouring pity on me. And I didn't want any of that. I told one of my sisters, and we have regular conversations, and it felt just easier. But it was a struggle to tell her. And I remember halfway through the conversation, I just had to stop, say, look, I'll phone you back, because it was still very, very raw, very raw. And, anyone who's watching this, who is going through it, you might not be stage 3, you might be stage 1 or 2, you might be worse, you might be stage 4, but you have those roller coaster moments at the beginning until you manage to gather all your thoughts together and have, the diagnosis and the treatment plan all locked in, and there you go. But it was a strange one, and I look back and I remember what she told me and how she, coped with that information, because, she was down at her allotment, and I remember calling her and she said, look, I'm on my way home. I'll phone you, when I get home. And she sensed from the tone of my voice that something was up. So she coped with it very, very well and gave me such encouragement, and has all the way through. And all of my sisters have all contributed in different ways and kept me on the right path, whether it's a little text every couple of weeks, whether it was, a conversation that I've had, little bits of input from different people, keeps you up there, keeps you on the right track and the right place. And obviously, my boys and my wife, who I have, contact every single day, have kept me there and in the place that I should be. But don't be ashamed at all of having moments of complete, breakdown of your own, clarity of the situation. You do have that, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, because you're dealing with so many aspects of what prostate cancer is and what it's been, or what it's continually doing to you. But remember, the treatment plan, that is the fight back. That is the beginning of the battle inside you. And another conversation I had with the local GP, because I couldn't cope with this feeling of in my legs and this heaviness. It was like wearing lead boots. And he said to me, and another one of these conversations where something clicks inside you, he said to me, Graham, there's an absolute battle going on inside you, with the tablets you're taking. this rage is ongoing. So of course you're going to feel these things. And he was great, and he gave me something just to take the edge off things, and that helped, and that took me a little bit closer to feeling normal, because that's what you crave, just to feel normal, because the whole process of having your PSA, going to have your first scan, having your biopsy, and then being told of the diagnosis and what level of cancer you have, and then going further on to an MRI scan. That is all in a process of 5 weeks. So from being normal, but feeling, well, I can't say I was normal, because I was having bouts of backache, going to the toilet 2, 3, 4 times a day, feeling fatigue. I was having that for about 1.5 years, 2 years. So I wasn't quite normal, but I was nowhere near in the place I was after the PSA result. Remember, I had a PSA of 37. That is incredibly high. But anyway, these things come to test us, and all I'm wanting to say is, guys, if you're out there listening to this, you can use me as a comparison to how you are managing it, and that helps me knowing that you're watching. And thank you so much for all the absolute wonderful messages I've had over the last 2 weeks. We only launched this channel 2 weeks ago, and the response I've had from ex-colleagues, associates, friends, family have been absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for that. It means a lot. There's a long way through this journey, and I'm not going to keep on talking about the issues of the diagnosis, because we'll move past that. But one of the things is the mental health and how you bring prostate cancer into your daily life. So anyway, if you've enjoyed this, a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.